me one sec. Okay, there you go. All right. Yeah. So welcome to the directorship interview. This will be like don't be too nervous. So it's just for us to get to know you better as well, and to see your goals, for the department. And we're excited to hear your ideas and stuff. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. So we will start with well, it'll be split into like two parts ish. So the first part will be just icebreaker, general questions, and the second part will be more departmental specific. So the ones that you prepared for in your email.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll ask the first icebreaker questions first. So yeah, so my first question for you is, what do you plan to achieve for your department during your time as director? So any kind of goals for the department that you're applying for in general? Yeah.
So is this talking about iCubes, like the department that I chose during my like the fill up form thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So during that time for entrepreneurship, I'll start with entrepreneurship first lah. So I feel like entrepreneurship, the main thing about it is the flagship event for Chipta. So hopefully by next year, because this year, from what Carmen told like all of us, she said that this year for Chipta, there's a lot of Malaysian students from like Malaysia university like joining Chipta events. And I remember like on last December they were talking about how there was a new like Australian chapter for like iCube. So hopefully by like the next time if I do become director for entrepreneurship, I was thinking about expanding the chipta so that Malaysian students from like Australian and American universities are like so that they would join more participants from those two regions would join for entrepreneurship. For business wise, because right now from what I've seen like all the events, it's mostly consulting. Like the most recent one I saw was like the tech consulting for this year. So I was thinking by like instead of other than like establishing like the tech consulting, maybe if like that becomes very established, I was thinking that could become another flagship event similar to how Chiptar is. Or if there is not enough, like if we don't have enough participants for I guess the business department, I was thinking to create more business workshops and webinar to like get, because business is not only about consulting, like to my understanding. So hopefully we can like give more information regarding on business. So like one thing I was like researching on that was I was also like really interested in was about being like a virtual assistant instead of like a business consultant. So because that also falls under the business department, I was thinking maybe we could create more workshop to like show the different insights on like the business department. Yeah.
Wait, sorry, just to clarify, you said virtual consultant, was it?
Oh no, virtual assistant. So like
Assistant.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Right, okay, that sounds good. Okay, so well, let's just say, these are all your plans for your department, and let's just say you'll be leading your department for next year. Based on, your experience so far, what kind of changes or improvements do you think you would like to make to your respective department?
So I'll mainly talk about like the entrepreneurship department since I'm inside of it there. Like I would say right now, because I'm like the PIC, I feel like one of the biggest issue like that I'm like encountering, and I guess like some of us in the entrepreneurship like department are also encountering is like I guess like how cohesive the Chipta program is. Like there is a lot of misunderstandings, especially on like not many people are like on the same boat, even though there is like documents that showcase like, oh, task 1 is going to be this, task 2 is going to be this. So I feel like there should be more internal workshop or like ice breaking session instead of like just the orientation one. So I would implement maybe like every month I would implement maybe some kind of short meetup, like less than 20 minutes like just like a coffee break session, just to like speak and meet more of like my like the iCube entrepreneurship officers. Because I think at the moment the only entrepreneurship officers that I know are like 3-4 people, because they're the people that I work with. So like I feel like I don't really know the other like officers, and I feel like that might hinder like the progress to like make it more cohesive. So that's what I was thinking for like entrepreneurship workshop. For the business department, I'm not that sure because I've never worked inside the business department, but I would say the emphasis would be very similar in terms of like the internal programs are like to get the officers from different departments to like meet more, to like be more like speak more or like have more ice breaking sessions between like the different departments. Yeah.
Okay, so this, yeah, so that sounds really good. So you're thinking of improving like internally, right? That's what you're
Yeah.
talking about. What about like improvements like externally? What do you think could be done in terms of that? So you can talk about entrepreneurship.
Okay, okay. So for like entrepreneurship, like I feel like even though we provided like documents for like the workshop, like the guidelines on how chipta is going to be like task one, you're gonna do this. I was thinking to implement more like there is this game show that I was thinking of. It's called Taskmaster. It's like a UK game show. I was thinking to implement more like videos, like for example, videos being like, oh, your next task is gonna be to record like a BMC pitch, whether it's live or recorded, and you have to ensure that it's like 5 minutes or less. I feel like that's very similar to the document, but I feel like because people perceive like documents differently compared to like people who are like speaking, maybe that will also reduce the chance of like confusion between like participants on like what they're supposed to do. So hopefully I would say other than like adding videos in like short videos to like explain the task, I was also thinking to like because you know how we have like the feedback forms for like every workshop. For example, workshop one, people would tell us about like the feedback. I was thinking to like create like a basically like a short video that just like goes over the question, like some of the questions that people have, either going over it through video format or ask the PIC to like get in contact with them to like explain everything again. Yeah.
So you prefer like a meeting style, like meeting the participants personally,
Yeah, yeah.
because they kind of perceive they get the information better in that way.
Yeah, yeah, I was thinking about it that way.
All right, cool. That sounds good. All right. Well, okay. I mean, I understand that you probably wouldn't know so much about what a director does or what the job scope is, but yeah. Well, can you tell me what you expect you'll be doing for the position that you're applying for? So entrepreneurship director and business director.
Okay, so for the entrepreneurship director, I feel like the biggest task before the Chipta event, like for to other than preparing for the next year's Chipta event, I would say to like create more events in between like the April to like the before the recruitment, so like October period, like small events just to like I guess like a mini event to like promote or like just to show like oh Chipta is coming soon, like mini insights like of how like entrepreneurship is going to be. I would also think that you have to like keep an eye on like the officers, like whether they're doing their tasks. Like for example, if you create like a team of maybe 3 or 4 of entrepreneurship officer for this one event, you have to ensure that they're on the right path, I guess, to like make sure like the event is like going smoothly. And then another thing I would say you would have to think of is like the risk management. So like in case if maybe like 2 officers have like either have exams or like sudden emergencies, you have to think of a way to like you have to replace them or you have to find someone else to replace them. I would say like the job scope for like an entrepreneurship director and the business director would also be very similar. Like you also have to look down keep an eye on your officers and also ensure they're like on the right path and like think about the risk management of like the events coming. But I would just say like the events would be different for like these 2 directors. Oh, Samantha, I
Yeah,
can't
cool.
hear you.
Oops, sorry, I was muted. But yeah, okay, yeah, pretty much I think you pretty much nailed down quite a lot of our roles as a director. I'm pretty sure you will know more about what we do extensively as a director once you get to the probation and things like that. But yeah, you're pretty much very, very close. So yeah, good job. Yeah, and the next question I'd like to ask is, what kind of commitments do you foresee yourself having in the coming academic year? So besides your studies and IQs, do you have anything else that you're committed to?
So for this, the academic year is from like April to like next year, April, like 1 year lah, around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, okay. So during that time, because at the moment I don't really the other the other commitment I guess I'll be in is I'm also like the external outreach and publicity associate for like ICMS, but I've told them like the task because they are delegating tasks right now, and I told them the only time I'll be free is like during the recruitment period. So like I would say it's around September to October for that job scope. Another thing other than that right now is since I don't really plan, I'm studying law, but I don't really plan on getting internships from like law firms at least on my first year because I still want to like explore the other like routes in like career wise lah. So that's why at the moment I'm still looking for other opportunities. The other opportunity that I actually applied in is the case study competition from like McKinsey and Company. That's one that I've applied, but I haven't received like whether I'll be joining for that. And another thing I feel like since I'm remote studying now, another commitment I'm currently having is like I'm in the middle of like creating a social, not a startup, but like I guess like a social enterprise, but that's more for like because I have two older siblings, but like they both suffer from the autism lah. So like I'm in the middle of trying to help them with that. So that's the other thing I guess I'm like preoccupied now.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. I think it's totally okay to have other external commitments, and it sounds like you have quite a lot on your plate, so that's exciting. Just quick question for in terms of ICMS, right? So when is your like tenure? How long is your tenure period like?
So the tenure starts right now. I'm an associate. I just started like last week, and that's supposed to end. It's supposed to end by this December because the recruitment for them is like after October they will have like this junior or associate, and then January the people will like take over you. Like next year January the people will take over you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Understand. Okay. Right. Okay. My next question would be how many directors do you think your department needs? So how many people do you want to work with in terms of directors, and who would you like to work with specifically if you have any preference?
Okay. For the people that I would like to work with, do I have to say like a name? Or
Yeah.
two names?
Yeah.
Okay. So for like I know entrepreneurship right now there's like two directors, like one is the global head and then the other one is like a director. I'm not sure whether the global head counts as a director in this case.
Yep.
But I would say maybe because like right now Chipta is expanding like a lot, like much more than I expected. So I was thinking like entrepreneurship there would be like three directors, so like one global, and then two other directors. So like you add in another extra director. For business, for the business department, since it's like relatively new, I think like one global and one director is still okay. Yeah. In terms of the people who I would like to work with, the problem is like I've only worked with from like last year until now, I've only worked with 4 different people. So I can only like recommend them because I know how their working style is. But if you ask me to recommend like one or two person, I would say Ken and Aini because I work with them the most in the two events that I'm like working in. They both are also there, so I know how their like work style is. So I feel like that gives me like it's easier for me to work with them lah compared to like other people.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, I'll just clarify with the director part. It was actually entrepreneurship. We had 3 directors, so 1 global head. But then because like she quit IQ, so that's why we continued with 2 directors, which is me and Jess. But I think it's better to have 3 directors because the workload is quite hard to split, especially being like a global head and like UK, but UK side there's not much help now, and I have to be involved in the UK side. And I think because this year it's a global chipta, so it makes sense for me to help out this chipta program and to be intervening the whole thing. But then if chipta became a UK thing next year or maybe a physical one, then a global head should be only to oversee the projects that's going on in UK, Malaysia, and Australia, and plan more new initiatives to all different regions. So it's better to have like more directors, which is what you say is quite sufficient. So 2 UK directors and 1 global head should be good enough.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, okay. My last question for the first part would be I know this is a tough question as well, but who do you see being the global chairperson or even the head of region of iCube UK for the next term? I know I understand you only work with 4 people, but do you have any recommendations?
Like from my experience, I would say Eugene because during startup weekend, like I saw how he presented. Like he knows a lot about iCube, and also like I think he knows a lot in regards to like the IQ, how IQ works, and also like he sourced like the mentors from what I've saw lah. So I was thinking like because he knows a lot of information about IQ and then he has like the prior experience, I feel like he would be a good like global chairperson for IQ, even though I've never worked with him. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
that's
sad
great.
he's graduating.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Do you have any other recommendations? Like, what about Kenneth and Aini? How do you, um, like, do you have
like
any thoughts?
I guess I would think Kenneth would, if you say in between like Kenneth or Aini, I would say Kenneth because I know from speaking to them he has more experience in terms of like how a society is supposed to work, because I know he's like second year right now, so he has more experience like and on like how what you're supposed to do in terms, but I'm not really sure like whether he knows a lot about IQ in general because I've never asked him about that. But how he manages things, I think I saw how he works and I feel like that would still be okay in terms of like the um global chairperson. Yeah.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's all for my part at the moment. So I'll pass it on to Carmen, as she'll ask you more departmental specific questions.
Okay. So like in the email, right, we have already sent you 2 questions to prepare. So the first one would be, do you think we should continue having Chipta next year, and justify why and how are you gonna make next year's Chipta better than previous Chipta? But if your answer is no, then maybe if you have any new initiatives, you could like tell us.
Okay. So for like, I just want to ask for like the chip plan next year. Do you guys plan on doing it like in person, or will it still most likely be like virtual, like global and virtual?
Honestly, like it depends. It will be depends on like your tenure, but then from what we see now, we actually plan to have like a physical chipta next year, but then because global chipta is actually doing very well, so maybe transforming chipta to like a global thing would be also a good idea, but it really depends. Like, do you like, it's up to you. Do you have any like opinions about that?
So for me, the way I think it is like if because from what I saw like the participants list and like most of them are like interested in the technology section. So I was thinking I would say to continue having Chipta, and but I'm not sure whether like you should scope down so that it's mostly focused only on like technology startups, because it were like, so I guess if it's more focused on like technology startups, all our mentors and the speakers that we have, they can be more, I guess, specific. So it will like be more beneficial for the people who aims to like pursue a technological type startup. But another way I would say like, because there are also like other categories like people who are interested in like social entrepreneurship. So if they like, I guess it depends on the participants list. So like after the people who sign up and then you see like the spreadsheet of like all the participants, if there are like a lot of other participants who are also interested in like maybe social entrepreneurship, and I was thinking like maybe the chipta program can be split depending on like the categories of entrepreneurship if it becomes global and virtual. But if it's very likely, if you say it's gonna become like a real event, like I'm not sure whether it's in Malaysia or in like UK, then I would still say yes, but I wouldn't say to like scope down or like increase the categories, because it will be very likely like the participants who will join will most likely be very little compared to like the global chipta. Yeah.
Okay, so actually we have thought about this before, like to split into tech and then social entrepreneurship. But then like because some categories are quite niche, and like social entrepreneurship, for example, there's probably like only two teams joining. So it's very hard for us to scope down to like specific industry. And then like there'll be like Chipta is basically a program for students, right? So we want to encourage them to join. So we don't really want to limit the category. That's why we didn't like proceed with this idea. Uh, yeah. So if there's only, for example, for say there's only 2 to 3 teams in like a certain category, how would you want to proceed the whole Chipta? Like, do you want to stick with this different track idea, or like just a general one?
So I would say like if there's only 2 or 3 teams like in the social entrepreneurship, I wouldn't think it'll be like a good option to scope down. But like in my mindset, because like a lot of our teams are like or mostly focus on like tech startup lah. So I was thinking like to make it more beneficial for them to like join, I guess to have more opportunities, it's better to like scope down, because the speakers who will be speaking for like the tech startup will most likely be different, and then the way your criteria when you judge for like during demo day, it will also be different. But considering now like since Chipta is mostly like it's supposed to be open for like people who are interested in entrepreneurship, like a pre-accelerator program thing, then I guess it's very difficult to scope down now. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. So I'll proceed with the second question. So please construct like an entrepreneurship department event timeline starting from your tenure, which is April this year. Yeah, it will be good if you have any like new initiatives to add.
Okay. I actually made like what's this thing called? Like an infographic of like the timeline, but I'm not sure whether I can share on this website.
I think can.
Okay, wait, let me try.
Is there like a share button?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Shares.
But they might ask for your permission, I think. I don't know. Can?
Oh yeah.
Is it like a Google Doc?
It's a PowerPoint presentation, but like, maybe I can export it. Can I export it? Okay, no, I can just explain it if I cannot show, because I can't seem to share my screen. It's so strange.
Wait, maybe I can. Maybe you can send it to me potentially.
Oh,
Does it work for you?
wait, let me check again. Application. No,
you can-
like when I press share, it's still like the button is gray and I cannot click on it.
Or like maybe if you can put it on Google Slide quickly, then you can share the link and we can take a look.
Okay. I think I'll do that. Okay, I send the drive. Hopefully you guys can also see it, but I'm not too sure. And it's not a Google slide. When I open it, it turns into a PDF.
Already. I see. I can open. Yeah, I can. Wait. Yeah. Can.
Okay. So for like I was looking at last year's 2020 like timeline lah. So like you said to construct it from like April onwards. So I was thinking like from April to May, there won't be like any new events, because like it's mostly focused on like Chipta, and then right now there's like this thing like the iCube X Hirela, like to create like internship opportunities. So I was thinking not to do anything during that time. So from like as you can see, like I highlighted a few. Those are like the new initiatives, I would say. So from like May and June last year, I saw there was like 3 different virtual sharing sessions on like on entrepreneurship related topics, things like how to like adapt to like the how can you still do entrepreneurship, like I guess online, like there was one about like the talk. So I was thinking to like continue doing like the virtual sharing session, but like the topics would be a little bit different lah. Like a little webinar to like it's gonna be like a 1 day event, I would say. So for like the reason why I put like A B C is like A is like at the start of like May to June, and then B is like around the middle time, and then C is like at the very end. So I remember last year there was a lot of emphasis on like information regarding like social there was one event for like social entrepreneurship, but I was thinking like this year, because I was trying to think of events that are like, I guess, they are like things where people would can like use to like increase their like, for example, interpersonal skills, so that next time when they want to apply for like chipta, they have like more confidence, I would say. So like the events I was thinking are used to like, I guess, help facilitate the next chipta event. So, but it won't be like a very big event. So as you can see, like from May to June, I put the personal development workshop. I was thinking this is gonna be like a 1.5 hour like hands-on approach lah. So like 20 minutes, you have like we will like invite one speaker to speak about like these topics, and then after that, the next remaining minutes are like more breakout rooms where you get to split, and you actually get to like practice like these type of like interpersonal skills, so that you can apply it like during, I guess, you can apply it not only in like entrepreneurship like startup, but also like in the business consulting startup. So like the reason why I place like online ethic and like presentation skills, I feel like the topics like I written for all of this like personal development would be like very useful, especially like in the industry, because iCube is mostly focused on like startup or like this in the business development. So I feel like to be able to communicate and speak like your thoughts are like really really important. So that's why I was thinking, if we have like more of these hands-on workshop sessions, it would also like be beneficial for the people who join, because they will get an idea on how to like, I guess, how to improve like their personal skills. And then at the same time, we can also talk about a little bit on the startup world, and maybe if people are interested, then they would also have like more confidence, I guess, to like join the chipta lah. So regarding like the social entrepreneurship, I was from like last year, instead of doing an event, I'm not sure whether like the entrepreneurship director is like in charge of creating infographics. I would think it's for the marketing and production team to like create that. So like on the part C, like May to June, you can see I put in like infographics or like podcasts on like the types of startups, like basically like informative posts on like that explains what like entrepreneurship is more like in detail. But like my emphasis on like the events is supposed to be for like people who wants to join like chipta, or like, even I know chipta is like for people who have zero experience in like doing startup, but they want to pursue it. But like I feel like I was looking at the chipta like workshop, like what they learn is quite detailed lah. Like those are the things you learn that you need to know to like build like a startup, like the BMC plan and stuff. But like the closest thing to like these interpersonal skills I saw was like the pitching for like workshop 3. So I was thinking to like focus more on like these other workshops. So you can see from like June to July, it's also very similar to like the May and June events. And then from like July to like August, before like the recruitment session, I was thinking to also do one more like person development workshop. And then for the B, last year there was like this iCube collaborative event on like how to like have this entrepreneur mindset. And hopefully this year we will also do something that's like very similar lah. So that's why I've like copy and paste the title of last year's event name, the AIESEC next iCube.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like for wait okay, but what about, so after August, October, it will be chipta, is it?
I was thinking like because right now for us, like during after October, November is like where you recruit like the next officers for like the next chipta.
Yeah.
So I was thinking to focus more on like the next officers, like more internally on like, I guess, on how to like increase, like to teach basically the officers on how to like run the next Chipta event, or like do the orientations for the officers. But I was worried like if I were to put like more external like workshop, for example, like if I do a personal development workshop number 4 during like November and December, I was worried about like the workload, especially for like the directors, because there's quite a lot of things. Like right now, it's even though there's only like 2 events per month, like from May to June, June to July, and then July to the next August, is there's only like 2 events, but I'm not sure how much workload do you need to like host one event. So like I was very worried about like if I put too many events, then I guess the director would be like very burnt out, and then they might not like continue to the next Cheetah. That's the part I was worried about also. Yeah.
Okay. So this timeline, you're talking about like what's that? Is it like a global timeline or like a UK timeline?
So for like the virtual sharing session, I would say it's more globally focused. For like the personal development like workshop, because my aim, it's only the participant, I only aim for like a very small group, maybe like 10, 15 to 20 like maximum participants, because I really want it to be like a more hands-on where people can actually like practice their skills. So I was thinking to do that, maybe regional base would be better, but I'm not sure how many participants are like interested in Australia and America. So I guess we need to like do some kind of survey before that to like see whether people are actually interested in like these type of personal development workshops.
Okay, so for like just a bit of like a short briefing about it, right? So basically for like the global, so how we work in iCube is basically UK region, and then there's US region, which is quite inactive right now from what I know, and then there's Australia region and Malaysia region. So the UK recruitment starts October, right? But because the Malaysia recruitment starts February, like Malaysia and Australia, I think it's January or February, if I'm not mistaken. So actually, you can actually find officers from those regions to help you with planning events throughout summer if you want to host events like virtually. But then that's why I think maybe if you want to have like workshops or like challenges, like new events, then it's better to have like a global one. So you can get more officers to help you instead of like doing it all alone, because that's going to be quite stressful, honestly. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
that's pretty good. Okay. Which event do you organize? So workshop 2 and
And demo day.
workshop 2 and demo day. Okay. Okay. So what would you comment on your team from um your workshop, for say workshop 2 team? Like who would you be the most comfortable to work with, and who would you least like to have on your team, and like why?
Oh, so for workshop 2, um, like I can only choose one person to like work with, right? Like only one
Uh
person in like my team of 4 people. Okay,
like
okay.
who do you think that has like the best work ethics and like very efficient, can actually help you with stuff?
Okay, okay. So for workshop 2, I feel like the most efficient like player is actually Aini, because she did like a lot of things. Like she contributed a lot of things for like workshop 2. I feel like the issue that we were having in workshop 2 is that because we don't really like communicate unless we are all like in the same call. Like we only do work when we are all in the same call, but some people would like do the work like after the call. So like when people start doing work like like for example, a few of like us, we do work like after, I guess not during the meeting time lah, like on our own time. The issue with that, when we don't like inform anybody, is like not all of us are in the same boat. For example, like the resource pack for workshop 2, I think only Aini and Ken did that, and when we did our second meetup for workshop 2, we actually did it like during the same meeting as demo day. And I feel like that might be an issue for like, for example, Winke, because she's not also part of like the demo day committee lah. For and me, Aini and Ken, we're all three in the same event. So then because of that, Winke was like a bit lost, especially in the start, because I guess we didn't really inform her like what exactly did we do and like the changes that we made. So I guess like you need to like rebrief her about everything lah. So I guess the person that I would like to work with, the person I would work with more in workshop 2, it's I would say it's Aini, because I work with her the most, like compared to like the 4 team members. And plus she's very efficient in like what she does. But like the only thing is that I guess we need to like keep an eye on like who's doing which task and like to tell each other. I feel
Yeah.
like everyone will be doing their own stuff, and then at the end when we meet up, then only we see like the changes that are like being done. So I feel like that might be an issue like in the future. Like I guess the person I would not work with, not work with, but like would be least likely. I would say it's honestly I would say it's Ken,
Mm-hmm.
because not because he doesn't do like the work efficiently, but because he has a lot of things like on his plate. Like when we do a meeting, like usually we're all like on the same, like all of us will be doing something, but like sometimes he will be doing 2 meetings at the same time. And I feel like that's fine, but the issue is like sometimes we have to like rebrief him on like what actually happened like during that time, and then we have to like basically it reduces the efficiency lah. So I would prefer to work with someone who's like right there during that time. Yeah.
All right. Okay, got it. Oh yeah. Also, I just want to like add on a question, right? Like, what do you actually think about the whole chipta communication now? Because we are splitting you guys into like two events, right? Like for chipta. How do you think about like your understanding about chipta and like the overall understanding about it, and then the communication between members and meeting like new officers, like do you have any ideas to improve like this whole structure of the chipta internal communication?
For right now, I would say like the communication, at least for my team, like workshop 2 and demo day, we our communication at the start was like quite smooth lah. So I won't complain about that, but I think that's because all of us there like to speak. So like communicating, there won't be like one person who's like very silent at the start, I would say. So I think that's fine. But I feel like to improve like the efficiency on like at least for me, when I started workshop 2, I was a bit lost in terms of like how chipta, like the timeline for like chipta. I didn't really know what workshop 2 is about, or like demo day is actually the pitching day. Like it took me a while to like research to like get an idea on that. So I would say to improve like how like I would like to know more of like our entrepreneurship officer, even though I know I'm not like working with them. Like even though I'm just like volunteering for the event or something like that, I feel like there should be more, I guess, like meetups, but not like the formal meetup. Like
Yeah.
just like a small coffee chat or like something like that, but like not a very long one lah. So I was thinking about doing something like that might help in terms of like communicating with like other entrepreneurship officers. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, like to have more meetings with each other and like a chipta meeting before even like chipta starts, so you guys are on the same track. Okay, so yeah, so one last question, right, is okay, what do you think about your current commitment as an officer? So is it very hectic, or like, I was quite worried about giving you guys so many PIC teams because I feel like it's very hard to like keep texting them and stuff, but I don't know what you guys think. Is it too hectic, or like um yeah.
For me, I feel like the 4 teams is like just right. Maybe because like I actually expected, I don't know why, but when like last year lah, I was expecting like more workload for like at least the entrepreneurship team, because I was very shocked that I will only have to like work. I guess my main like priority would be doing workshop 2 and demo day, and not like I can still volunteer for like other events, but like my emphasis is on workshop 2 and demo day. But like I think the 4 teams for like the point of contact thing, I think it's fine, because it's very common for like one team to drop out like at the end. I feel like for at least for most of the people I've spoken with, at least one of their team has already dropped out. Like mine one team has dropped out, but like the other three are still like quite communicate. Like they will still like tell me about the things that. So I think being like the point of contact for like three participants, I think that's fine. But like the one thing I would like wish I can help them more is like in terms of like speaking to their mentors, because even though I'm like in contact with them for like iCube, Chipta, and then also like what they have to do in terms of the task, but some of the questions they ask me are like related to their mentors, and like it's very hard for me to like keep asking, like I have to keep asking you guys on like what am I supposed to tell like to the mentor and like things like that, because I can't relay the message to the mentor. Like most of the time I would just ask you guys like what's happening lah. Yeah.
I think one changes like we can make here, right, is like for all the mentors pitching, like we should have a meeting minutes so everything is jotted down. So and then in a file, right? Then it's easier even if you want to refer to like the what's the mentor's plan and like, and also you guys can also probably organize a chipta ice breaking session. So like um maybe during like the first mentorship session, right, like you can be there just to clear up their
Oh,
questions and like jot down any questions if they don't have, if they
yeah.
have. Okay, so also, how do you think you did during your time in iCube, and what do you think you could have done better?
So I think for my time in iKeep, I feel like I really enjoyed the fact that we get to like plan the internal and like external events, and like I was actually really looking forward to like being able to pitch to like mentors, even though I didn't get a chance because my mentor like suddenly like the time when I wanted to pitch,
Oh,
they canceled. So like I didn't have a chance to pitch lah. But that was one of the time I was actually looking forward, I guess. But it's okay. There's like other opportunity also, and like the workload I think is fine. I feel like the workload is not too much, like in terms of like the iCube like workload. But the one thing I feel like I should work on more is like I always for like in our team we always forget that we have to do the meeting minutes, and I feel like even though during that time it's like fine, but like at the end we want to like refer back, and then none of us really remembers because most of us have like other commitments too. So I think that's like one of the things I have to work on. And then the other thing is like, because for my workshop 2 and demo day, Aini and Ken are both like the project lead lah. Even though they've like asked like the other parties, like other like us, me, Winky, or like I guess Norman, whether we want to like whether we want to like lead the project. I feel like I wasn't assertive enough. Like I didn't really tell them like, oh, I'm like interested, like I really want to lead this. Can you let me lead or something like that? I wish I've said something along the lines of that, and not just say like, oh, you can do it if you want to, and then like just pass, and it just keeps passing until like one person be like, okay, I'll do it or something like that. I feel like I should be more assertive in terms of like the position. But like I feel like one of the reason why I'm like that was because I was very, I've never like done any sort of like internal event proposing before, but like now that I get like a better idea, I feel like at least now I have some sort of idea. I'll be more confident in terms of like if I really want to do it, I'll say something. Yeah.
all right. Okay. Yeah, I think just to add on a point on like meeting minutes, it's quite important because during I think workshop 1, right, it was super confusing because um there was no meeting minutes to refer, and then last minute there was like a problem with like some of the parts of the events, and then like Melvin and I, we wanted to make changes, and then because of the time zone differences as well. So when we make the change, and then um Alistair, like one of the project lead, because in UK it's like at night, right? So
Oh
it's
yeah.
like because of time zone difference, we cannot really coordinate, especially like last minute, like before the event. That's why I think like a meeting minutes is very important to just make sure everyone is on track, or like at least like a quick meeting, and then like just short notes to make sure things are going well. Okay, so I'm done with the entrepreneurship department questions. Do you have any questions regarding like a global role or UK director or anything related to it?
I do have a question on like because right now there's only like from what I've seen like even though you told me like entrepreneurship there's like three there used to be three like directors because right now iCube has like different regions like America and then Australia even though America is like quite inactive. Do you think there'll be like a director for like each region and then the global one is just like overseeing the three director in like the different regions?
Okay.
Or would it be like one director, two region, like keeping an eye to region?
Oh, okay. So now because the problem, like Malaysia and Australia, I think they don't have like separate departments director. So they only have P&E director. So they'll just so it's like P&E external and then marketing SSF, right? So they'll just organize all the events as yeah. So for P&E directors, they'll just help out with entrepreneurship events. That's why the global head needs to intervene more for Australia and Malaysia side, which is quite unfortunate this year. We don't really have time to plan everything because the timeline was just pushed like so packed because of the sudden resign and stuff. So I think as a global head next year, it would be better if the job scope are split. How to say the job scope are split like evenly, and like you know what's your job scope and how you can help like other regions instead of just focusing on UK and like Chipta.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Any more questions?
I do have one for like the business department, but like I'm not sure whether like it's because like right now business department there's mostly focusing on like consulting, right? Is there any plans like to make other events other than like consulting workshops? I mean consulting like a 6 week consulting time. Is there other like plans like workshop or events?
Yeah, actually, consulting is not the only thing that we do. We do have three other events. So we do have a consulting workshop as well. And besides that, we have the case interview workshop as well as the corporate innovation challenge, which is a new initiative that we're doing this year. So yeah, we do have quite a lot of events to plan. Although like they are all individual events, I would say. Um, Especially I think during this time as well, my officers are really busy because of the corporate innovation challenge as well as the consulting project that's going on, as well as the workshop. Um, so yeah, that's what we're doing for the business department.
Okay, okay.
Yep. So I'm done with entrepreneurship. We can continue.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I guess we can move on to your second part, which is more about business, because that's your second choice. Um, yeah. So I wanted to know, why are you interested why did you choose business as your second choice over, I think, marketing was your third, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, it was more like because I guess, the type of work I'm doing now and like the type of career I know that I'll be pursuing in the future, I'm not really sure whether they're in the like I've only known like being like consulting last year when like one of my senior actually told me about it. So like I don't really know that much about consulting, but from what I've like heard, I feel like consulting and I mean business and like startup, I would say like I want to work somewhere in between like these two fields in the future. So like most of the skills or like most of the working opportunity like I'm doing like right now I'm told you I'm doing like the social enterprise thing for like my older siblings. So I feel like those type of things like the skills I've applied for those are the things I would say you would need for like I guess in the startup department, like the entrepreneurship department and also like the business department. So that's why I feel like other than if I don't get to like I guess work for like the entrepreneurship department, I would most likely pick like business department for like my second one. For my the reason why I picked like marketing on my third choice was because prior to like I guess 2 to 3 years before like I decided to like pursue a more like business startup department like this business startup field route was because I wanted to like work more as like a concept designer in like a gaming development field. So like I didn't apply for like law as my first like I didn't choose to study law. I actually took like an apprenticeship for like a gaming industry for like designing and marketing. So that's why I feel like my past experience are like more suited for like the marketing department, and also my ICMS. When I was working in ICMS, most of my internships are like focusing more on like the marketing field. So I feel like because of that, I have the most experience, I guess, if you consider like my past experience. So that's why I decided to put like marketing on my third choice. But because right now those are like not the skills that I'm currently focusing on, I feel like if I do during my like what I'm currently doing, I want to be able to apply to like basically like the departments that I'm like, I want it to be like very similar to the things I'm working on. So that's why I picked like business and entrepreneurship as my first and second choice.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so I wanted to ask your opinion. So, what do you think? What do you see is the main purpose of the business department? So, what separates us from entrepreneurship, and how effectively do you think, our current initiatives are contributing to the purpose of the business department as a whole?
Okay, so I feel like the way I see startups or like entrepreneurship, I feel like that's like the initial phase on like where you're actually executing like some kind of idea to like to make sure that you're basically trying to execute some kind of idea so that you can basically start up. Not it's not a pun, but like that's how I see it. But for like the business department, I feel like you're more focusing more on like the, I guess, the process and not like trying to execute something that's new. So I guess you're also trying to solve problems, but like the problems are in a company that's already established or like some kind of issue. So that's how I see the business department. But at the same time, I feel like the business department is quite wide also compared to like the entrepreneurship department. Like things like, not everybody wants to learn about like case study and consulting because business is quite broad. Some people in the business department wants to learn on like how do you manage, for example, like a corporate setting, like a corporate business setting, or like it might be different in a business department if you work for like a very small startup but like it's growing rapidly, I would say. So I feel like business is very broad, and I think like the initiatives now do like explain what like how the business department work. But if I were to like add in more initiative, I feel like there should be more, I guess, information sharing now, like what exactly does the business department do, or like maybe like more information on like the types of things you can pursue in the business department, like other than consulting, case studies, and those type things.
Okay, yeah, I think you make really valid points. Just well, I guess just to give you a bit of more of an insight. So the business department was started off like maybe 2 years ago, and
Okay.
and one of the main reasons the business department came about was yeah, as you said, like you want to solve business problems, you want to expose students to solving business problems. So I know it's like a business department, and we can go into many different kind of fields. I was also thinking of doing more things like economics or even accounting and finance, because those are all related to business. As you said, business is such a huge umbrella. But I guess one thing that can be a bit dangerous when it comes to planning initiatives or even thinking about where you want to bring your business department to, is that you still want to make sure that it is rooted in iCube's main vision and mission, which is to build entrepreneurial mindset, right? So I think yeah, so sometimes like whatever initiatives you think about, we must always tie it back to iCube's main vision, because we are under iCube essentially, right? So yeah, I do like your idea about I teach like exposing people to managing different kinds of businesses. I think that's very valid, and I think that will be something that you can explore into in the future if you're a business director. So yeah, just make sure that you're aware of that. The
Okay.
clear definition of like, yeah, everything still has to tie back to iCube's vision. Okay, yeah, I think that will be all for my part as well. Or maybe Kamal, you can take over for the last segment.
Your mic is muted, Karen.
Wait. Oh, okay. Hi. Yeah. So, do you have any like additional questions for us, like before we end this session?
I I want to know more about like the business department actually. So you say like it's more focusing on like the main goal of iCube is basically to like foster like this entrepreneur mindset, right? So like can you like explain more in detail like entrepreneurship mindset? Does that mean like the business department, most of like your initiatives are like aim on like those type of skills that you learn from like the business initiatives are not focused more on like, I guess, like a multi corporational like firm. Like it's not the skills you learn to like build for like a multi corporational like firm, but instead for like startups that are like quite relatively like new and you want to like help them at the start. Is that what you mean?
Well, we don't really limit it to like just just you're not looking at just startup business or just corporate companies. So the consulting project essentially like the main idea is that we give students opportunities to work with a real client. So things like NatWest or Metal, or those kind of companies are huge. They're not startups, right? They are huge, and um and teams go into those companies and they and the companies give them a real problem statement, so like a real problem that's going on in their business, and teams work for 8 weeks to solve the problem from the business. So I guess the main theme of like IQ business department is that we want to expose students to solving business problems. So that has been our theme for a while now. That's why the consulting project, that's why the case study, they all are feeding to the idea that we want to help people know how to solve their business problems. So in the future, when they start their own business, when they have when they go into the world and start their own business, they will know how to solve their own company's business problems essentially. So we're not limiting it to people who want to be a consultant in the future. We want to supports people in next time when they want to have their own business, they can develop their ideas, knowing that they can solve business problems because of the skill sets that they have learned from the business department.
Okay, okay.
Anything else?
I think that's all from me. Like those are like the main questions I have in mind at the moment.
Okay. Yeah. So, if there's any questions regarding like directorship, you can still like always ask us through Slack. Like you can just message us, and yeah. So we'll be notifying you the results probably in next few weeks, and then I'll just tell you like what will happen after. If you're a successful candidate, then we'll be giving you like a probationary task. So during that period, it's just letting you know like how we actually function as a director, and like how we actually plan our timeline, and also if there's any implementation if you want to make, you can always like tell us, we can discuss about it, and also like prepare you guys to be on like to speak for the OGM that AGM or OGM that we will be hosting like in April. And so yeah, so that's about it. So thank you for your time. Yeah, so see you and good luck. And
Okay,
we'll
thank
thank
you.
you for the
I'll
results.
see you guys soon. Bye bye.
Bye.
Hey, wait, is that like a closing question you have to ask? Oh
How
no.
really?
I know, I just saw it. They say after this interview, your preference change or something.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
I wasn't referring to the slides.
I'm pretty sure
I mean,
she,
to the
I'm pretty sure
question.
she still wants like entrepreneurship, so it should
Yeah, I think you end the recording first.